Broadcasting to you on WNN 1470 AM and TrentoVision.tv from the world's leading think tank laboratory, buried deep in an undisclosed building in hostile territory where evil and corruption is exposed. You're about to enter the Tom Trento Show.
General order, all hands man your battle station.
Tom Trento heads United West, a group that says it defends Western civilization against the onslaught of Islam.
Learning, living, and laughing. Because as you'll see with today's presentation, we live in dangerous days, ladies and gentlemen. And if we're going to establish a doctrine and an attitude of being aware in unique situations, it's qualitatively necessary to do that in such a way as you don't jump off the largest bridge in your town. Because once you become aware of what's going on, it impacts you so dramatically and you become so necessarily aware of the situations that it could be psychologically, emotionally, and physiologically overwhelming. Many people that we know who have been doing this for years get burned out. And we can't have that. We need, particularly coming out of the Tea Party, the primary grassroots organization in the United States of America, holding true to the principles of the Constitution of the United States of America. Give yourselves a hand for that. Mark and I just got back from Israel. 2 weeks national security fact-finding mission. Absolutely amazing. Israel is a country preparing for war and praying for peace. There's a contradiction going on in the country. Many people believe, I'm one of them, that before 364 days from today, 4 November 2014, that Iran will either have the bomb or be bombed. One of the other. Both are going to have catastrophic impacts around the world. What we're doing tonight is preparation, not just for that inevitable day, but preparation for living and breathing and working in what has become a dangerous world. It's a dangerous world, and we can't cover all this material tonight, okay? This is an overview. It's a dangerous world we live in because of several dynamics. And accusing a gun of being the cause of all the problems, we know how bizarre that is. We have uniquely the increasing of the disrespect internally from people and externally from enemies for the United States. We have the anger from Islamic jihadis and others pointed at the United States. So we have this increasing hatred that has lethality connected to it. At the same time, culturally, and this is where we have to point the fingers at ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. This guy, this president would not be in the office if good people of strong moral conscience got involved. 1 million Christians in the state of Florida did not vote in 2012. President Obama won by 74,000 votes. That's a sad state of affairs. Culturally, from the 60s to now, we have a decline in relative truth, understanding what truth is, and a decline in what was agreed upon morality. Once you fracture the family, decrease the levels of morality, a society necessarily goes downhill. Add to that the increasing external threats, and you need to understand this information tonight. Couldn't be a better historical context for where we are. We're strong supporters of Israel. I'm a community organizer, okay? That's what I do. I organize the community. States going after these guys, going into the mosques, going into their phony baloney interfaith things, going into their conferences, and going right in their face and confronting them legally and calling them out. And we still do that. But now that we have a show every day and broadcasting digitally, it's digital warfare, we're now expanding the impact we have around the United States. Let's see. Situational awareness. Our objective, and this is a very short workshop that we have going on here. Our objective tonight is to increase your successful performance. Successful performance. If you get in a bad situation, you're going to perform. Face the facts. Either unsuccessfully to the point of dying, or successfully, possibly to the point of dying. In any event, you want to be as successful as you can in these very dangerous situations, and that's where we're headed. Just yesterday in my home state, New Jersey, we had an active shooter. Could have been extremely bad. Turned out that he was suicidal, and he wanted to go into a mall and scare people, but essentially kill himself, which he did. Active shooter scenarios are increasing dramatically because when you do the analysis, the psychological analysis of a typical active shooter, they want one of the objectives in their life is some sort of notoriety. And active shooters nowadays, in a couple of hours, can be infamous individuals worldwide. So this is going to be on the increase in terms of the degradation of our culture. Hey, it's going to be on the increase because it is tactically, active shooter scenarios. It is tactically a methodology of Islamic jihad. Mumbai, Kenya, the jihadis understand 4 or 5 guys who want to go with the virgins, with a couple of AKs, can wreak terror in the hearts of calm Americans, to the point where the calm Americans will put political pressure on their leaders to get the hell out of Israel and leave the Islamic jihadis alone. That's the end game. Active shooters are going to be on the upswing. Situational awareness. Yesterday we had a fun day in Iran. They're burning the American flag, kind of du jour activity there. Do you know what yesterday was in Iran? What?
The anniversary of the taking of our embassy.
Yeah, it was the 34th anniversary. These dates are critically important. When you are fighting Islamic jihad, dates have symbolic and existential meaning to the Islamic world. Yesterday was the 34th anniversary of the taking of the 52 hostages that were held for how many days?
444.
444. What day were they released?
Reagan's inauguration.
Reagan's inauguration, yep. And he had the courtesy to allow President Carter to go meet them at the tarmac. And he said, you go meet them. That was Ronald Reagan. Well, yesterday they had a little celebration in Iran, burning the American flag. Whenever you burn the American flag in Iran, you got to burn this flag too, okay? You got to burn the Israeli flag. It's just the way they live and breathe. But Iran is the world's greatest terrorism threat right now. They're Shia Muslims. They hate Sunni Muslims, which are 85% of the Muslims, the Saudis, all of that. But they hate Jews and Christians and Americans more. And through Hezbollah and others, they are behind virtually every single terrorist attack of any significance worldwide. They have their hands in it somehow. And as I said, if Netanyahu goes to knock out their nuke capability, the world's going to change overnight. Anybody know who this is?
Yes.
Who's that? What's the significance of this guy? Workplace violence. That's Major Nadal Hassan as a major, psychologist in the Army. That's him as a jihadi in the Army. We know what he did. You know when he did this? 4 years ago today. Today is the 4-year anniversary of the Fort Hood shooting. Situational awareness. They were in a waiting room about this size, about 40, 45 people. He jumps up, Allahu Akbar. He yells that out. That's the war cry for Islam. Wounds 30-something people, kills 13, one of whom was an unborn baby. And this government, this is near treasonous in the way many of us think. This government, Allahu Akbar, and he kills soldiers, and this government can't come to understand that as a terrorist attack. Workplace violence. That is an insult to every single American on the face of the earth. It's pretty simple. We're talking about you guys, and your observer says you got a crime problem in the city of Sarasota.
Right.
You familiar with this? City of Sarasota residents are up to 10 times more likely to be victims of crimes than residents living in other zip codes. Sarasota? That piece of information, along with the city's high per capita crime rate, which outpaces Chicago, New Orleans, and Washington, highlights an ongoing struggle with crime in a city that threatens to diminish its appeal as an attractive venue for tourists and business. This is pretty amazing information, and you guys need to pick this up after we leave and take a look at this. But again, in terms of the workshop tonight, situational awareness is very critical. There's even a chart showing, now there is some debate on this. It's FBI metrics, and it's extrapolated on a basis of 100,000 citizens, which you don't have that, but this data is pretty sound. So that's your problem right now. All I'm doing is showing you that you got a problem. And we got a bigger problem than that. Guess who's back, ladies and gentlemen? Charlie Crist announced yesterday that he's running for governor, and that may be the scariest thing that you hear all night long. Okay. All right, dangerous situations. Please view this as an overview, because each of these, in and of themselves, can be significantly detailed and discussed, and that isn't the intent tonight. But whenever you travel to a foreign land, there's serious levels of degree, from going to the south into Mexico to any foreign country, and even the Western countries, even European countries. You go off the main road into a side road, and you're in some Netherlands that can be extremely difficult. If you go into, we just had a Floridian, a Florida resident, stunning in London, young guy, walking down one of the London streets with a beer bottle, attacked by the Islamic morality police, and they took the beer bottle, smashed him in the face. You've seen the video, it's all over the internet. Disfigured his face, 20-year-old Floridian, because he was carrying a beer in what the Muslims in England had said was an area controlled by Sharia law. This is in London. This is real stuff that's happening now. Foreign travel is very, very tricky. On our trip, we went over to Jordan for a day. I was not comfortable going into an Islamic country, because all they got to do is Google your name, and then it may be a little difficult getting out. But we went. Foreign travel is dangerous, but so is going to Publix at night. That can be extremely dangerous nowadays. And if indeed, as we have these fluctuations in the economy, people use that as justification to take from somebody who has. Home invasions, extremely serious situations. Express kidnapping. You know what express kidnapping is? What is it? Anybody know? I grab you, I throw you in my car, and we're going to go to the ATMs and drain your bank account over the next 3 days. So you're held because you can only take out so much money, and usually the individual is targeted based upon what metrics. If you're a crook and you wanted to get somebody, throw them in your car, 2 or 3 guys, throw them on the floor of a van, throw them in the trunk, take them around for 2 or 3 days, drain their bank account, what would you look for? Wealthy people. Well, what's an indicator of wealth? Obviously the car. What else? Older people are easier, obviously, to take advantage of. Not these people in this room, but other rooms. What would be some other indicators? Jewelry, neighborhoods, all of that. I would not, whatever I do to prepare myself for a situation, I would not go to an ATM at night ever. I would not do that. I mean, that's again, one of the key facts that we'll get across this evening is pre-planning. If you can pre-plan to stay out of dangerous situations, you increase the safety factor in your life. But staying out of an ATM at night is one of them. Air travel, flying on an airplane could be dangerous nowadays, and it's going to get worse, particularly if Israel attacks. If Israel attacks Iran, jihadis worldwide will be unleashed, and all bets are off. They have been trained to operate in individual cells or as lone wolves to use, and we have all their documents, we have all their material, their teaching material, and they're trained to use anything Allah has provided. An automobile, use that to run people over. A knife, use that. A gun, use that. Anything, whatever Allah has provided, unleash lethality upon the infidel for the sake of Islam. And if Israel attacks, you're going to see more and more of that. Craigslist, great place for committing crimes. How? Yeah, stealing, you know, hey, I see you have a necklace you're selling. Yeah, I'm selling it. I need to sell it. You want $500? I'll give you $300. Okay, I'll meet you in the 7-Eleven in the parking lot. I'll be right there. Okay. And you walk there with your necklace, and two guys go, thank you, and they walk away. I mean, you know, that's pretty common sense, but a lot of crimes are perpetrated. This is physical crime. Carjacking. What do you do? You know, I mean, it's a shame in a sense we have to even think of these things, but what do you do to make sure nobody can jump in your car and take it? Yes?
Lock my doors and carry a gun at all times.
Well, locking the doors is going to be more effective in the quick moments, unless you carry the gun like this, walk into your car. Sexual assaults, purse snatchings, domestic issues. If anyone's in law enforcement, anybody in law enforcement here? Any cops? If you're in law enforcement, that you're trained, that's where you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt at a domestic confrontation more so than any other, because that's where two people are fighting and the cop comes in to break it up, or even if a person comes in to break it up, and then both people turn on that individual.
Yeah.
So that situation, if you're in it, the tone of your voice is essential to downgrade the elevation of the argument. If you escalate from a situational awareness point of view, you can control quite a bit with a level of intensity in your voice based upon the certain circumstances. Sometimes you need to crank it up, but other times you need to just throw cold water on it. So, and ATMs are very, very dangerous. Anybody in here ever serve in the United States military? Can you guys stand up, please? Let's give these guys a hand. All right, here's what we're looking to accomplish this evening. We want to get into a relaxed awareness, a state of relaxed awareness. This is not as relaxed as you want to be in serious situations, okay? This guy's a little too relaxed. These guys are way too relaxed. And this lady maybe is taking it a little too far, okay? The goal, and if you take anything out of this evening, to develop this doctrine of relaxed awareness. That is my primary point this evening. Underscore that. Relaxed awareness. You're aware, but you create the status of your body, your all the five senses, your psychological understanding, which results in your physiological capability to withstand complex situations. Relaxed awareness. That's the doctrine that we're looking to accomplish. And if you can master putting yourself in a state of relaxed awareness, and it isn't that difficult theoretically, you can practice it, and you ought to, and then like anything else, you put your seatbelt on every day, and you hope and pray you never have to use it. Same thing with this. If you carry a weapon, you hope and pray you never have to use it. You may have to. Same thing with this. If you can master being relaxed and aware, you pray you never have to use it. Someday you will. Pumping gas at night. I avoid pumping gas at night just for those reasons. It is one of the scariest places on the face of the earth to be in a gas station, particularly in a sketchy neighborhood. You're so exposed. You're standing out there, you know, you got a bomb at the end of your hands, pumping gas at night. And we all know the rules that when you pump gas, what do you do with your wallet? You know, it's right there in the front seat. You're supposed to lock the doors, go out, don't leave your wallet there because two guys, one distracts you. Oh, ma'am, you dropped a quarter here. Is this yours? The other guy takes your wallet. He's gone very, very quickly. Or rob the car. Yes. An unknown situation would be a state of affairs which are unplanned, unexpected, and occur when least expected. That happens.
I am Imam Abdullah, and I am happy to be here with you, Sarasota, for this man, Tom Trento.
You want to sit down, sir, please?
Yes.
What is that?
Is he part of your act?
Some stuff just happens when you don't know it. You can be prepared, and then out of nowhere, something happens like that. And what was going through some of your thoughts or feelings when you saw this guy walk in and get a little out? Yes.
I was afraid he had a bomb in that he was carrying.
That's why we had him carry that, to indicate that. Yes, sir. All right, what did you see with the scarf? Show him the scarf, please. That's the Palestinian Arafat kafia. That is a significant indicator of trouble, okay? Two types of people wear that. Muslim jihadis or rich Northeastern trust fund babies trying to be cool, okay? But that's an indicator that you're in a situation where you need to be aware. One or two other feelings about what took place when he walked in. Yes, Barb?
My first thought was to come stand between you and him.
Thank you, okay? That should have been everybody's thought. We got to do that again. Everybody, keep the speaker safe, okay?
If I may,
Yes.
most people don't realize it, but the primary job of a chaplain assistant is to be the bodyguard for the chaplain, because chaplains, by treaty, are not allowed to carry any kind of a weapon. So you have to be a good shot, and you have to be a bodyguard for chaplain. And that's the first thing you do, is get between your chaplain and danger.
Well, that's pretty interesting, and you know Barbara was a chaplain for many years, so you're standing between this person and a physical threat, and you're also standing between this person and his spiritual life. That's pretty good. You got that whole thing covered there. You'll see later on, run, hide, fight. I'm going to leave you with run, hide, fight. For active shooters, you got 3 movements: get out of there, hide, or fight or die, basically. Run, fight, die, run, fight, hide. Yes? Well, no. Being frozen is completely normal. That's your body's fight or fright. You know, I mean, that's you get scared. About a year ago, the radio station where we do our show, now we do it somewhere else, 5-story building, I got in the elevator, pushed down and went clunk about a half a floor and stopped. The elevator broke. And I'm in an elevator that broke. And immediately, physiologically, I start getting nervous, right? And that's normal. I mean, that's the way your body works, because you need that adrenaline rush to help you think through. So I said, okay.
You're by yourself?
You know, I went through the process I'm going to show you guys to get that paranoia out of the way and to now deal with the situation, to deal with it properly. But that's totally normal to have that the physiological, yeah. And there's 2 or 3, typically 3 types of individuals in this audience. 3 types of people, and there they are right there. Oh wait, that slide's from another PowerPoint.
That's from the DNC convention.
That's the DNC convention slide, yeah. Democrat National Convention. There are 3 types of people. There are first responders in the world, in an audience. What, your cops don't look like that? That's our Fort Lauderdale cops. There are first responders. There are patriotic activists. Anybody know who that gentleman is there? That's William Temple. He became the face of the Tea Party movement, good friend of mine, back when they had the 1 million people in Washington, D.C. And then there's like the quiet majority. You know, in any audience, there are people who are first responders either by profession or by characteristics, by attitude, that you simply run to the gunfire. And I learned a long time ago that was how I was wired. And I personally run to these crazy things and have been involved in so many of them. But there are first responders, who have it as a job or first responders who think that way. There are patriotic activists, and there are general, the general majority of the population is just a quiet majority. Here's what you have to do. You have to determine more or less what group you fall into. Are you a first responder? When you sense trouble, is it your natural compulsion to move in that direction? If there's a car accident, you're pulling over, you're on the ground, helping with CPR or extricating somebody. Or are you an activist? Many of you here are obviously patriotic activists, because obviously a first responder is going to be in more threat situations than the quiet majority of people. And the activists nowadays, political activists, apart from being enemies of the state in many respects, the threat index has been elevated for you by the nature of what you believe and what you say. So if that's where you find yourself, most of you got to realize now you are in dangerous territory. And it's dangerous by the nature of what you do, by also the nature of the enemies who don't like what you're doing. Now the reason for this is, I'm going to lay out some other material. You put these two pieces of material together, and you'll see to what degree you have to really practice this stuff, because the probability arises for you to be in dangerous situations. Doing visualization, if you're an athlete, racing cars or football or anything, you visualize the play, the track, and you put yourself in those scenarios, and you could, to a degree, through visualization, create the same sort of feelings and at least establish what you know you want to do in those situations. You're in a gas station and the guy comes up and you says, "Hey man, dude, I need some money. I don't want to have any trouble, but I need all your money." What are you going to do? Well, if you thought that through, a couple of different scenarios, and said A, B, C, I'm going to go with C. If he goes this way, then I'm going to do this. If you think this through and keep it in your mind and think about it, you'll burn that into your mind. You'll have some muscle memory, some memory that, okay, when that occurs, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give him my wallet and hope he goes away. And if he tries to throw me in the car, then that's a whole different world, and there's something you must do at that point. But let's go on. All right, situational awareness is the process of recognizing a threat at an early stage, the earlier the better, and taking measures to avoid it. We don't want to get in these situations. Being observant of one's surroundings and identifying potential threats and dangerous situations is more an attitude or mindset than a hard skill. Next slide, very important. Situational awareness is not just a process that can be practiced by highly trained government agents or specialized corporate security counter-surveillance teams. It can be adopted and employed by anyone. Thus, our purposes today. One of the primary mindset elements that are necessary for you to, as I said at the outset, to be successful in your performance in dangerous situations is to admit what?
There is a problem.
You're in trouble. You go out and admit it. Tom, the elevator ain't going down. You got a situation on your hands here. If you deny you're in trouble, you could die. Right? If you don't equip yourself for stage 2, which could be seconds, absolute seconds in a very dangerous situation, you could die. If there's an active shooter and the gun's going off, and again, we're active shooters. This is happening all over the place now. If there's an active shooter and you freeze and you go, this can't be happening, normalcy bias, I'm in a mall. How could a guy be shooting a gun? And when you admit, I'm in trouble, and you don't deny it, then you're 50% there, increasing your survivability successfully in a dangerous situation. Kill paranoia or it will kill you. That's simple. That was your point a bit earlier. And anyone in combat issues or extreme sports, I was in one of those parasailing things. I'm sitting on this stupid little seat up there, and I look, and I'm a little mechanically inclined, the rings and the canvas that's holding it is starting to fray. It's a 2-inch piece of canvas, and I'm looking at that going, huh, but dopey kids driving a boat down there. And I said, okay, got to calm down and just enjoy this. And so you have to gain control of that.
Paid to do that.
What's that?
You paid to do that.
I paid to put myself in that crazy situation. Just like an automobile, that's the red line. You can run up to the red line on a car because that's the way car engines are made. But you're not supposed to go into the red area and keep the engine there. You can't run at red line speeds continually. You will hurt the engine. In a similar way, you can't be continually going around like this in life. All right, is this dangerous? Is this dangerous? It'll drive you nuts. Thus the doctrine of relaxed awareness. Situational awareness is best practice at a balanced level, referred to as situational awareness. A state of mind that can be maintained indefinitely without all the stress associated with being on constant alert. That's where we're going. We can teach a lot on the particulars of what to do exactly if you're at the ATM and you see in the mirror a couple of guys you don't like, and they got 3 of them back there. But for today's purposes, it's developing a psychological mindset and starting to practice in that direction. Relaxed awareness is not tiring and allows people to enjoy life while paying attention to their surroundings. Again, the objective, to increase your successful performance in dangerous situations through developing the skill of relaxed awareness. Here's the visual, here's the graphic that I want to burn into your thinking that you associate with the doctrine of relaxed awareness. What do you see there? What colors? Red, green, yellow. What does the green mean?
Go.
Just go? Go like hell? Just go! All right, step on the gas and go. What does it mean? You proceed through the intersection, you go. What is the characteristics of driving while green? Now, you probably never thought of this because it's second nature to some extent. Is driving dangerous?
Yes.
I used to teach driving, and I tell people, your job is to come home alive today. Because people out there want to kill you. Your job is to come home alive. Do you know how many times when you're on a 2-lane highway and a car is 6 inches away, if somebody sneezed or looks at their text, it's a head-on collision and you're dead? Very experienced driver. I'm watching those cars coming this way, and I'm looking at that front left tire, and I'm looking for the slightest change in that tire coming toward me. That's where my eyes are. I'm looking peripherally, but I stay on that tire, and I'm trying to line up the eyes of the driver also. That is an extremely dangerous situation. Now, I've done that for many, many years, and I can do it every day because I've established the capability to drive while green, aware, sensing dangerous situations, but do it in a relaxful manner. Can you drive at green for 6 hours?
No.
At green for 6 hours. You do it all the time. You go on a vacation. You drive knowing that you're in dangerous situations, you're analyzing the road, you're analyzing all types of things, but you do it and you don't get killed. What about driving while yellow? What happens now? What is the yellow supposed to mean as you're approaching? Get ready, could have a problem here. Start slowing down. Don't keep doing what you're doing.
Could be a red light camera.
Could be a red light camera. So the yellow elevates you from the state of green and says, okay, I got to now do stuff or I could be in serious trouble. And then obviously driving while red. What's the situation there? Yeah, I mean, if you say, okay, going to ignore the red, the serious situations, inevitably you're going to get hurt. All right. Well, the analogy here is the situations progress from your relaxed state, relaxed awareness, to an elevation of that relax. You can live for a long time at green. Driving at amber, yellow, it gets a little more tense. And you cannot drive long times in a state of red. That's racing an automobile, and that's a whole different thing. But you can go through this elevated process, physiologically, emotionally, psychologically, of all right, everything's okay. It's starting to get tense. I'm in serious trouble now. That's where we're going with this. And these are some of the areas where this relaxed awareness can be applied. We've gone through these a couple of times, these slides. So you want to get in the proper state of mind, and you want to drive at a nice RPM in your life, and live, but be very aware of the situation. Observation is a whole nother workshop that we can put together to develop observational skills using the lights. What category? What is the level of the dangerous situation? Is it green, an everyday situation? Is it yellow, elevated, or is it high, red? Based upon the level of seriousness you're in, you then analyze with the 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and you observe information. You become an intelligent sponge to get all the information around you and then make decisions for successful performance in difficult situations. Observation. Something occurred here a little while ago that was out of the ordinary. And it occurred by design. And it was for this moment to test your observational skills. Anybody know what I'm talking about? The guy, not when Abdullah walked in. That was to have your juices flowing a little bit. But something else occurred after that. What about the trash can?
They moved it.
Who moved it? Rich Swire moved it. Who, now honestly, who saw, raise your hand, honestly, who saw the trash can being moved? Who knew who moved it? Raise your hand. Did Rich move it by himself?
No.
Who else moved it?
No.
Abdullah moved it with him. What did you think when you saw that? Just move the garbage can. Back to the normalcy bias. Well, okay, you put a garbage can in the front of the room. What we're touching on here is the fact that a speaker speaking to a group, that may or may not be something that's legitimate. In your green state, where you're relaxed awareness, you noticed it, and you say, all right, well, in a bad situation, that could be, a bomb inside of that thing. Who knows? We had 4 or 5 scenarios planned, and in 4 of them, Abdullah winds up getting shot, okay? So we said, okay, he goes, I don't mind helping. Where is he? Where's Damon? Over there. What did you say?
I said, I'm glad we're going. We're going to have a good time. I said, but after that, I said, my only request is make sure I don't get shot.
Again, this isn't a class on firearms or firearm management. We can put those together, but the last thing in the world you want to do is fire your gun. And when you do, you know your life has changed. It's changed if you miss. It's changed if you've hit the person. It's changed dramatically. It's not romantic cowboys in the Wild Wild West. It changes your life dramatically, and usually not for the good for the rest of your life. And make sure that lethal force is required for your protection or for the protection of somebody else. When you're doing observation, creating observational skills, and this again is a whole fabulous area. You have at least 5 senses that can be employed. How would you employ sight? Obviously. Seeing whatever the thing is. Hearing, listening. How about smelling? In what situations would you smell something that could put you on from green to amber heightened alert? Smoke in a fire, or what else? We're going to really have to be aware of chemical smells too, and biological smells, because part of Al-Qaeda's handbook for attacking the U.S. is using not just nukes, but chemical and biological, and using everything from pesticides to stuff that's in your kitchen. Use your observations to determine the seriousness of the situation you're in by tasting something. And what about touch? Door handle hot, which indicates what? In this day and age, I'll make an argument that this device is more important to your survival than a handgun, in many respects. Why would I say something like that? It's a lifeline and the best observing platform. We just came out of a little introduction into utilizing all your senses to observe. I don't know anything better than a smartphone for observational purposes. And right now there's a whole variety. I happen to have an iPhone and it happens to be pink. Okay. But I'll show you a couple of things with iPhones.
Yeah, I use it all the time to actually diffuse situations. People come up to me and they start arguing with me. I'll pull it out and start videotaping. And it immediately shuts them down. It really does.
There's the other side of that, which is, get that phone out of my face. There's a way of dealing with that. So again, whether the phone can be something that degrades or de-escalates the situation or escalates it is determined by the analysis of the situation. Pretty simple. The kind of work we do, often pulling a phone out, de-escalates the increased activity. No, what they're doing is they're selling phones now that have a taser component to it. Oh yeah, iPhone has a taser component to it and can be used as a weapon.
How's that?
Again, remember the three people? We have the first responder. They typically are wired now. Professional first responders are wired with camera and audio devices, most all of them, particularly in major cities and in their automobiles. So they're recording the events. We have the activists. Activists are becoming more frontline fighters in the cultural political battle. So it's going to be that much more important to maximize the use of recording devices. I would maintain that this group right here is using 10 to 15% of the capabilities of your smartphones for dangerous situational awareness scenarios. If nothing else comes out of this hour together this evening, the material right now is very practical and necessary follow-up information. Your homework is to go online, get the book for your iPhone, learn and master the few things I'm going to show you right here. This is an application, always have a witness. It costs $30. It's an application, and there are other ones out there. I just want to show you the range of what this application can do for situational awareness scenarios. Always have a witness. A personal safety smartphone app, so easy, safe, and economical that using it daily is simply common sense. Here's what it does. It's the only service that provides audio and video recording and sending it to a service. You're sending real live information somewhere. Real-time tracking of your location with GPS. Data sent to off-premises secure server. Automatically dials 911 if you need to do that. Notifies trusted contacts. You've already pre-programmed 4 or 5 people. When you push this thing, you tell them, I'm in trouble, and they know right where you are. Emits flashing light and sounds an alarm, and allows you to always manage recordings. So the designers are recognizing the world we live in, and they're building into this increased capability for unique situations. That's just this application. But what I want to spend a couple of minutes on is your phone management as an audio recording device, as a video recording device, and as a camera device. What kind of situation where you sense danger would you throw on your audio device and start recording? Yeah, if you are going into a dangerous area where you have to, I mean your car broke down, whatever, you've got to walk somewhere, put it in your pocket somewhere, put the audio recording device on. We do this a lot. We go into places surreptitiously, and we record, and we have recording devices. This thing is better than the recording device. Now, the trick is, you've got a hard drive on here, and everybody puts, oh, my grandchildren, my this, my that, 47,000 pictures, and you record for 10 seconds, and it says, up, full. So in terms of preparing relaxed awareness and using a life-saving tool, there's a management component to it, every month you dump the stuff off. You got to take it off and always allow yourself to have room on here. Put it in your pocket. You walk through. If you see if you're in a grocery line and two people are starting to argue apart from the cameras that are there, you could put the recording device on or a video device. How would you use your video device in a way that could help you successfully navigate through a dangerous situation?
Okay.
All these phones nowadays, they all have they all have audio and video capability. Somebody just called me. Hang on one second. I am in the middle. I don't believe. I'm in the middle of this. Can you? Is that David? Did you call me?
No.
Oh, all right. Never mind. Goodbye.
What did I do?
What I just did was videotape everybody in here, making believe I was on the phone. So I was videotaping everybody. I have done this a million times in situations where I said, I don't like the looks of that guy, okay, whether on an airplane or whatever. I just, and you have to practice because there's the lens, and you have to know how to turn your head and what to do, but it's very simple. Anybody can do this. And I made a recording, and I'm making believe I'm talking. If I want the audio to play, I'll just nod my head. And I'll go, and you have to look in a mirror. Look in a mirror to have your characteristics look like you're really talking on a phone. And if you're Italian, you're going like this, right? But I just videotaped all of you, and I have a record for that. And we have used those records to help other folks. But everybody should master these 3 basic skills. How to audio tape. Now, what you have to do with your smartphones, you got to practice. Because I've been in situations, I went undercover into a communist meeting in Chicago about a year and a half ago, and I dressed up like a truck driver and all this stuff from New Jersey. Wasn't hard. I used to be a truck driver from New Jersey. And I'm taping them, the audio at one point, and I hit the wrong button, and the audio starts playing back loud. I'm pushing all kinds of things to shut it off, and then I taped the whole event. A whole day with communists in Chicago, real life communists. They exist. I had my jacket and I had this. I wouldn't advise a pink phone for doing this, but I had a black one, and I just had it on my jacket. But I put my jacket in such a way that it was laying in the crease, and the lens was at the speakers at the front. And I would move my jacket like this, just normally, and I taped everything beautifully. Worked out beautifully. But it's critical to master these 3 areas. Not hard, simple stuff. This is also important, particularly if you're in the first group, first responders, or patriot activists. These phones have horrible battery life nowadays. You must carry a spare battery. It costs about $100. And you charge them up. They give you about 40 to 50% power, about 2 hours. And I don't go anywhere without a spare battery. It's a little tiny thing, this big, size of a pack of gum. It's in my pocket or in my bag. And inevitably, one of my friends needs it because they never have their phone charged. And you see what I have on that? Smartphone management, 100%, 100%. What does that mean?
Keep it charged.
Keep your phone charged 100%. Battery 100% of the time. Always keep it plugged in. You will need it at some point in this crazy world. But the point of all of this is, leave here today saying, my phone is not a phone, it's a life-saving device, not just for your life, but recording information that will be incalculably valuable in a crime situation to catch the bad guys and to help good people. Very, very important. We have to understand in this day and age, particularly Tea Party patriots, that we don't live and exist for ourselves anymore. We are really frontline warriors for our fellow citizens, even if they're too stupid to understand that, which is half the time. But that's just the situation, and that's what we have to do. Somebody has to help these people out. All right, run, hide, fight. Active shooter situation. If you're ever in that like we just saw in Kenya, Nairobi, where that was a well-planned attack, Al-Qaeda attack. They actually rented a store in the mall 3 months before, went in, put change of clothes, put weapons, did all of this stuff, and then attacked from the inside and outside. They hit them both ways, and they were killing all non-Muslims. The idea is to prepare yourself to stay out of these situations. So if it's a rundown mall at night in a strange neighborhood, and you just gotta have that bag of Frito-Lay potatoes, forget about it, okay? Go tomorrow morning, you know? Or I gotta get this umbrella, it's right. Don't put yourself in these situations. They're potentially dangerous. Preparation is the smartest way of avoiding a lot of problems. Running. You see an active shooter, you run away. How do you run away? Now, obviously, zigzagging, don't give the guy a clean shot. And when you're zigzagging, it's hard for some folks, obviously, but up and down as much as you can. This is a life or death situation. Somebody wants to kill you, and if they can get to you, they're going to kill you. So there's no holes barred. You're running zigzag, you're rolling, you're getting behind stuff. You're hiding. You want to get into somewhere and hide, into a room, into a closet. Again, if you can't get out, if you're cut off, you go hide, and you don't shut your phone off. You make your phone silent so it doesn't ring. There's a little feature to make it silent. You obviously should be running the audio now. If you can get to a landline in the place, like a school or a mall, one of these places, make the call from the landline, so that and leave it open. Leave that line open, and the systems, the 911 systems, can track landlines more quickly. If you're in this closet behind me and the guy's breaking in, you know, it's you're going to sit there and get shot and get killed. And don't think this can't happen to you. Part of survivability in these dangerous situations is not denying the fact that you could be at the other end of a AK or an AR. And it can be very bad. So you fight, and you fight to the death. You fight high. Fight high. We have martial artists here. They'll tell you to fight high. Eyes, you know, all the vulnerable soft parts. If you're with others, gang up on the shooters. And this is a last-ditch effort. But I would be remiss if I didn't say this stuff happens, and it could happen to you. Bottom line, do something. Don't just be there in a cowering ball and say, you know, apart from praying. Be praying all the time, but act. Be acting and make something happen. All right, a couple of jihad indicators here. But if we bring the terrorism factor in, there are a couple of identifiable metrics that can take you from relaxed awareness in green to amber, saying, okay, something's going on. What do you see there that's very definitive? Yeah, it's a Sharia-compliant beard. Sharia-compliant beards are untrimmed. You cannot trim a beard if you're being Sharia compliant. It just grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And the whole idea here is that if someone is Sharia compliant, they now go from a Muslim who may be a wonderful person, a wonderful American, all of that, they go to a different category. They are now in a category where the law of Allah supersedes the Constitution. That would be 9 out of 10 times. The anomaly would be Sharia-compliant beard, where somebody says, no, I don't like Sharia, I like the Constitution. So that's one deal, one identifiable metric. How about that as an identifiable metric? If you see women walking around, particularly with men, in full burqas, let's say full burqa, not just the hijab, the head covering, but no skin showing, highly Sharia compliant. The husband, the male with her, is going to be someone that I would pay attention to. I would say, okay, this guy's in a very unique class. He's making his wife wear Sharia compliant clothes in the West, and he is completely against the culture of the West, the law of the West. You know, I got to keep my eye on him. Airplane, I see this stuff, I profile on airplanes. I don't work for the federal government. I don't work for anybody. I profile. I profile all the time, and it's a very good thing to do it responsibly. Responsibly profile. What do you see here that's unique? I see a gun, yeah. Well, let me give you the next slide. What do you see there that's unique?
A bullet hole in the head.
A bullet hole in the head. What is that?
Good.
What is that thing on his forehead?
Like you need it.
It's called a zabida. Z-E-B-E-D-A. Zabida. What's a zabida?
They're headbangers.
It's a prayer bump. You have to pray 5 times a day as a Muslim, and part of the routine, the rigorous routine, is to touch your head to the ground as a sign of distinguished spiritual superiority. Are the males who have a zabida. They bang their head so often, it's a sign of piety to Allah, that I spend so much time with my head on the ground. I am in a superior position to Allah than any other Muslim, and certainly any other infidel. You see a zabida, you see a jihadi. Okay? That's the way I view the world. Zabida equals jihadi. They are guilty in my mind until proven innocent. Okay? If I see a guy wearing a Nazi uniform, the guy's guilty until proven innocent. If I see somebody walking around with a KKK hat, guilty until proven innocent in my world. A zabida, guilty as someone who's a potential threat to me, to the society. That's what that indicates. You see a Sharia compliant beard in the zabida, you got a problem on your hands. You see this guy walking to the front cabin to go to the bathroom on the airplane, you got a real problem. Yeah. When I fly, and I fly quite a bit, as soon as I walk into the airport, you saw the shooting in LAX the other day. Active shooter in LAX, walks in, kills a TSA agent. As soon as I walk in, I start looking around. And because I'm on heightened alert. This is the #1 area jihadis want to infiltrate and create chaos in our transportation in the air, because it destroys the economy, strikes fear in everybody. It's a heightened area. In my mind, it's red, the airlines. I'm on high alert as I go through there. I'm looking around. When I go to the gate, I analyze all the people. I'm looking, and I'm looking for 3 or 4 guys wearing Alabama football T-shirts, about 6'5". I'm going, okay, those guys are going to be over here on the good guy side. So, I'm doing all this stuff, and then if I saw that guy right there, I would be talking to my friends on the phone like this. I would take a picture of that guy, and I'd watch him very carefully. Is he in first class? Does he have a friend who's in the back? They like to separate the terrorists, have somebody in the back, somebody in the front. I have a life-proof case on here. You can drop this phone, you can throw it in the water, you can do whatever you want with this. It's good up to about 10 feet in the water. You want a case that keeps your phone useful if you drop it or if it gets wet in dangerous situations, because you don't usually get in these situations on a sunny day on the beach. This case, ask the martial artist, this case held properly can kill somebody very easily. An elderly person striking somebody properly with the end of that can kill somebody if you had to fight your way out. This is a weapon besides a personal salvation device. Real fast. Home safety. Lights, camera, action. Have a lot of lights around your house. Have cameras around your house. Very important. Guard pets. Guard pets are very good. Sort of. This is probably not the best guard pet. This one's a little better, but that one's the best right there. To have your house guarded by a lion is probably a pretty good thing. But always remember that verse right there. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. And this is the work of the Lord, knowing that your toil is not in vain in the Lord. Thank you. Have a wonderful one.